All right, everybody, welcome. We are now recording. So thanks for joining us. Just so you know, this session is going to be recorded. But this class is, what is it? Teaching as a profession. So it is basically a 2-semester or 2-block class. It remind me of your old teacher. Okay, good. Well, maybe I'm a teacher. Who knows? Uh, I better be, since I'm teaching about teaching as kind of a profession and how that all works. So thanks for joining us. This is a CTE class, and what it does is it really kind of goes over this. Uh, in order to get your CTE basically pathway is what we call it. You need to kind of take both classes. So this is teaching as a profession part 1, and then there'll be a part 2 next block. So hopefully you'll like this one enough that you'll want to go and take it. Next one we're going to go into more depth on everything. So, but thank you all for joining us. Yes, yep. If you take both of them, you get the full CTE credit. Yep, correct. And it will count as what's called a pathway, which is good too. Perfect. Okay. All right. So this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes, as you can see here. And then just some classroom expectations I have. Usually I don't have any problem with people, but make sure you're following along with the Nearpod lesson. If you haven't been able to get the lesson, I'm posting the link right there in the chat, so you can go and grab that real quick. Make sure you're using the chat's tools respectfully and appropriately. I don't think we'll get into many heated topics as we're talking about, even though what a lot of people don't know is education. It's very kind of political in some aspects, especially the administration portion of things. If you see like the legislature that's kind of getting up there, a lot of them have to do with education. It becomes very sometimes heated there, but I don't think in this class we'll get into too many heated topics or anything like that. So, but just make sure you're respectful and appropriate. Next one, respond to questions and instructions the first time, and that helps us just kind of keep going through the course here. All right. So before I kind of get started on this, I want to just run through the course and show you how it's set up, what you need to do, all that stuff. First off, I have course announcements right here. I will be posting the video or the recording of this to the announcement page. So, we don't have too many people in the class right now that are here live with us. Love for you to join live, but understand you guys are all busy. Some of you guys are in multiple schools, that kind of stuff. So if you need to just watch the recording, it'll be posted right here. And I'll also post it in the content section, and I'll show you where to do that in a second. If we go in here, you put plan. This is going to kind of give us a plan of what happens during the block. So live classes will be holding at 1:15 on Thursdays. And then what I do is I assign out the work, and I just have them do a week from now, so on Wednesday. So Wednesday, I'll put in zeros for who did it, and that kind of reminds you for live class that, hey, I need to get something done or get these done. And so that's how basically that is done. As we go throughout the block, this will go all throughout February. We do have no school on the 20th. And then the end of the block is the 17th. So we'll have to get everything in by the 17th. So there should be a good probably week, a little over a week. If you do kind of get a little behind, life catches up with you, that kind of stuff. Okay, so this would be called, Ali, thank you for the question. It is an elective, but it's a CTE credit, so career and technical education. So you need one full credit in order to graduate. And so if you take this part 1 and then part 2 next time, that will count for your 1 credit for CTE for graduation. So good question there. Okay, so if you go into the content portion, which is right here, you'll see all the units that we kind of go through. So we have 6 units. The first one's going to be that we're going to go over in a second is careers in education. Then we're going to talk about theories in education, lesson plans and instruction, technology in the classroom, the process of learning, and then student populations. Okay. So we're going to be going over all of those, and then we'll get, if you take, which I hope you will, teaching as a profession too, we'll go in deeper detail about all of these kind of things. As you can see right here, we have the Nearpod link. I will post the recorded lesson to right here as well. And then we'll have a quiz and an assignment due at the end of this class, but that's not due if you look back on the calendar here until Wednesday. So you got a week to kind of get all that done. Okay. All right. So real quick, a little bit about me. Of course, my name is Mr. Hancock. I have a dog, I guess, if that's what you want to do. But I'm married to my wife, Christy. We have 3 kids, Brooklyn, Kaysen, and Kaylor. Ages, 10 to 5. And so that's my family right there. And then we got our dog named Trix. He's a Bernie Doodle, or she's a Bernie Doodle. And that's a little bit about us right there, about me. Okay, so let's get into the content of everything here. So let's talk about education. Okay. So you're probably in this class because maybe education interests you. You may want to think about working in a school, possibly as a teacher, or as, there's different levels you can always do up. One of the biggest areas of need is schools. A lot of people work for associated with districts or charter schools or all that kind of stuff. And there, I have a question. Where can I find the state guide for this course? Yeah, I can post that to the content here. But yeah, I can give you a guide and just put it like in unit 1 or something like that. But I'll have to do that after class. Okay. Yep. If you think it's helpful, it's right on the CTE website, but I have some that has like all the domains and stuff on there. Good question. All right. But the job there are some benefits, some rewards, and then there's also some, I guess, barriers in the field. Some of the things that to highlight is there's intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. So intrinsic, right, means, kind of what you feel like in. So like what you feel inside. So really it's a lot, it's kind of like emotional, right? Being able to help other people, being able to help them grow and develop and learn new things. So it's very rewarding that way. Intellectually, like yourself, if you want to be in education and teach like in a classroom or work individually one-on-one or administer something like that, there is a lot of education that goes into it. So this will require, as we'll go into further, that you will need like an at least a bachelor's degree for a teacher. And even if you have like a para job, they require other training, usually like an associate's, they try to have you get. So there is a lot of intrinsic value there. And extrinsic, which means after, so there's some benefits. Most of these jobs are very secure. So you actually don't have like a lot of firings and stuff like that of people in the education realm. So you do have a good job security. One of the ones that I love a lot is summer vacation. A lot of jobs don't have like 2.5 months off or 2 months off for summer break. But in education, you do have that, right? So it's kind of nice, which kind of leads to a work schedule, particularly like with me personally, like having kids and stuff like that. It's really nice to be able to be somewhat on their same schedule. Holidays we kind of have off together. Summer we have off, so we can go do family trips, stuff like that, and that makes it really rewarding there. Another one is salary. Educators' salaries are based out throughout the year. So even though we have the summer off, we still get paid during the summer, which is really nice. So then I don't have to get like another job and or whatever. Um, and it's very stable, and usually you get increases every year for cost of living and other things as more things get funded. And then there's also benefits that apply to those as well. So meaning benefits like being able to get health insurance, being able to get retirement, all of those things. Okay. So there's quite a few rewards as it comes to education and what you can kind of receive. So the stability is a really big factor. So as we're talking more about rewards, I think it's good to look at the overall value. So this is taken from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I'll put this in the chat here so you guys can analyze this a little bit. This will be something you'll be analyzing for one of your assignments. But as you can see here, it tells the median salary pay for that and what is required. So the education, and also has a job description. Um, the good thing on here, so is you can go here and you can like click and you can open up and you can see if, like, for example, if you want to go into special education. So this is working with students with disabilities. You can see like how fast the job market's growing, the number of jobs they have, what the work environment's like, all of those kind of things. So it can kind of give you a really good breakdown right there. Of course, everybody, you want to get some reinforcement or whatever of how much it pays. So as you can see here, like 61,820 per year would be basically what the median pay is. So for a and so this isn't the starting pay. This is like the median pay. So that's kind of where you'd look at, right? So, and it does have a lot of other things too, like what is it like, the work environment, how to become one. Okay, so it gives you a lot of different options here. Okay, to kind of look at. So that's going to be one of your assignments. So I would definitely hang on to that. Oh, what is going on here? How do I get rid of that? I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why that popped. Okay, didn't pop up anymore. Okay, so that'll be something to look at as we're going through. Okay, a little bit of a job description of an educator, in which you guys will, one of your assignments, I said narrowing it down even more to like one of these ones that you would really be interested in. But here's some things that they do, right? Create and teach lesson plans, keep up with students' progress, grade papers, keep parents informed of students' progress, assure students are following rules, okay? Prepare activities in class, right? And being able to do those kind of things. Okay, that's a good question. So of these, which is the hardest to do? Um, I like you asked those questions. Thank you for doing that. Um, that's a very good question. I would say the one that I like the least is grading papers. um, just because it's hard to like go through, especially like, and it really depends on what field you go into. Like, for example, if you're an English teacher, you're going to spend a lot of time reading papers, grading, that kind of stuff, and then keeping kids from cheating, right? Um, I do like working with kids like individually and stuff like that. So uh, being able to like having lessons in class, helping kids learn and that kind of stuff. I really kind of enjoy those kind of things. But I said the worst for me would be grading papers. But very good question. All right. Yeah, that's good to know. So, I mean, in some of them you can do like, and things are getting more automated and stuff like that. So you can, because I teach at Utah Virtual like 6 classes a block, which is actually the most of any teacher in the school. So don't think of that. But I have probably one of the biggest loads as well. So, but I probably have about 500 kids in each class, or for not each class, but overall in all those classes, right? Um, so yeah, so that's a lot of grades. So I've learned to like, I have automated stuff that does some things for me and that kind of stuff. So I can't really, like, individually, I wish I could help out a little bit more, but um, yeah, it can be lots of grading. But you find ways to make things easier. As I said, technology is growing, and I can probably share some things with you, like things that will automatically grade it for you and give you feedback of what to look on. If we're looking at like plagiarism, right? So everybody, hopefully you know what plagiarism is, like where you're copying somebody and saying it's your work. There's plagiarism checkers and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of grading that kind of goes on with it. And maybe that's why I don't like it so much. All right. But here's one of the things that I do like. So education requirements. So I really like to learn, right? And I'm just a curious person, right? So for example, uh, like if you want to be like a paraprofessional, you're probably going to get about associate's degree. And so that's 2 years of college, right? You probably need a bachelor's degree or above. So all licensed teachers basically have that, are pretty close to it. And then master's degrees are for administrators and different specialists, right? And some teachers. So um, I personally, so I do have a master's degree and I have a lot of specialty degrees. That's why I teach so many classes. Um, but I love learning and stuff like that. And so there's different content areas that you can go into. So if you really enjoy math or really enjoy science or computer science or whatever. So for example, if you were to look at me, like I went into like social studies or social sciences, and then I have like a special education background. I have um, driver's education. So I do that. I have CTE stuff. I have administrative stuff. I have behavior specialist stuff. Um, so I like learning. I like going to school and learning all these things and being in that environment. So there. Is it possible to both teach and learn at the same time, like taking college classes while teaching in high school? Yes. And most people that are getting like their master's degree, and there is ongoing continuing education. And so to re-up your teaching license, you have to have so much continuing education. And so what I do is I just take different college classes and stuff like that. So there is a possibility to do that. Um, some teachers are hired without a bachelor's degree, but they just have a bachelor's degree but not a teaching license. And so then they have to go through the process of licensure, which they'll be going to school as well. And luckily, college has become a lot more flexible to working individuals. Like you have schools like Western Governors University. Currently, I'm taking some classes through Southern Utah University, and it's really good to be able to do that, because then you keep up with what's the best new technology and ideas and stuff like that to be able to get things done. So very good questions. What if you want to teach a college class like a professor? What are the education requirements for that? Um, usually they require you to at least have a master's degree. So I actually taught for 5 years at BYU, Idaho online. They discontinued my class, so that's why I don't teach there anymore. But most full-time professors, they have to have a PhD. And so usually they get a master's degree and you can start teaching on faculty. But then you're going to have to start being a PhD candidate and work towards a PhD. But there's some areas that you don't have to have a PhD, but you have to have a lot of expertise in an area. So it takes more time, work. Yes. Yeah. So basically, if you're going to be teaching the teachers, usually what they do is like in a bachelor's. So a master's degree can teach undergraduate courses. That's like people that are getting their bachelor's or associates. But PhDs need to teach at master's degrees, but usually PhDs teach all of these too. What about first grade teacher? So you need at least like a bachelor's degree. So just a 4-year degree. And some people do it in less time too. And that's the good thing I said about universities now is they're very flexible on things like with online education. Some people know things, they're competency based now, which basically means that if you already know the material and you can show that you already know it, they'll pass you off and they'll let you go on to the next subject. So good question, guys. Is a doctorate degree or a master's degree higher education? Like which one do you need more teaching in? A doctorate degree probably takes about 8 to 12 years, I'm assuming, with everything, right? So you start out from the beginning. So it goes associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD. So hopefully that kind of made sense. There is some programs that you can, as soon as you get your bachelor's, you can actually go into a PhD program and you kind of skip the master's, but there's a lot of work that you have to do because you have to basically do your master's work and then your doctorate, your PhD work. Does the situation change in private schools? So private schools, I've worked with a few private schools, like some contracting stuff. They sometimes hire teachers that do not have bachelor's degrees. They don't have to have teaching license, but they have to usually be in the process of getting teaching licenses. All schools are basically accredited by an institution. Right now, it's called Cognia. It used to be Advanced Ed, but it's Cognia, and that just makes sure that they understand that they're meeting like certain requirements for kids. So private schools and traditional schools with that. But I would say private schools are a little more lenient on hiring teachers that do not have or that are not fully licensed. But most districts and charter schools, they hire usually the licensed first, and then if not, someone that has a bachelor's degree that's working towards licensure. So hopefully that answers that question. Yep. Good questions, though. All right. So in the United States, things are kind of broken up between two sections. Really, you have elementary, which is K through 6. Sometimes they include early childhood, which would be like kind of a preschool kind of thing. Preschool doesn't have as many requirements, and you do have some preschool teachers that do not have bachelor's degrees, but they do have early childhood degrees that you can get. So educators, and usually early childhood covers kindergarten. So if you really want to work with the littles, that's where you would kind of go there. Or you have like get it like a 1 through 8 license, so 1st through 8th grade license. But usually they only teach like 1st to 6th grade, and then they start breaking out into secondary from 7th to 12th. So 7th to 12th grade, you're more content based, right? So if you think here, we have different like subjects, like at Utah Virtual, you have math and English, and these are teachers that are specific. They have specific training in those areas of English or social studies or science or those different areas. And so that's what I personally like. I like to dig deeper kind of in these subjects. If you're elementary level, you'll need to know all of those, right? All the core subjects, which are English, math, science, and social studies. Have you ever touched elementary level or only secondary? I've been an administrator on an elementary level, but I have never taught in an elementary level. I subbed before on an elementary level, but I mostly enjoy more secondary and working with older kids. Um, just because I find them that more engaging. Sometimes the little ones, I got my little kids at home and I love them to death, but they kind of bug me. So my wife actually teaches at first grade. Um, so she's at the elementary level. So we've had some good conversations with that. So I know a little bit about both levels. Okay, so there are challenges in education, right? So there's a lot of things you want to consider before maybe you jump in, you're figured out. But the biggest one, I guess, is just as a teacher, a lot of first year teachers and teachers that are what's they call green, right? Just new. Um, the complex classrooms that happen. Um, so basically multi-dimensional, simultaneous things happening at the same time. A kid needs to go to the bathroom and a kid needs to do this. How do you structure your classroom to be able to do that? Um, things are immediate, right? You got to be attentive right there. I know some teachers just run around like crazy, especially in the younger grades. I'm thinking that way. That's why I kind of like the older kids because they're more um, the really younger ones are hard because it's like, can you tie my shoe? Can you help me blow my nose? Right. Um, so it's it's fun kind of that way looking at it. But things are unpredictable all the time in schools and at all different levels. Um, like people get sick in schools, right? There's changes that are going on. And another thing is very public, right? Especially today's political atmosphere. Things are very public and they're very, so everything's out on the open, right? And so something that happens in your classroom is you got to know it's going to be public, or even you put in an email, it can be public. So there are a lot of childcare involved with the elementary level. Yes, and that's one of the biggest things of at least a brick and mortar school, right? Right now we're in a virtual school. Is that uh, people use it kind of? I mean, a little bit for childcare, right? If you think about it, um, but that's not what teachers are meant to be. Somebody said what I would be scared of is the shootings. Yeah, so unfortunately, there's school safety is huge. There's always ongoing things, needs of kids. That there's kids that do not are not in great households, right? And so you got to think of abuse, and we're um, basically mandatory reporters, what are they called? And so that basically means that you have to report any instance of where you a suspected child abuse. Okay, so there's some sad things, but there's very rewarding things too, right? But there are challenges, right? You just got to be aware of that, and then also getting along with staff and parents and that naughty kid in the corner, right? I got some crazy stories for you at some point in time. Okay. All right. So let me go over real quick just our assignments that we have. So if we go into the unit, right, we do have a quiz. So with that, and then we also have an assignment. So each are worth 25 points. And the quiz is pretty easy here. It's just basically the information we went over right now. So let's start quiz. You'll be able to see that in just a second here. Okay. So just kind of what we talked about right here. 5 questions, pretty easy on that end of things. Okay. And then this one, the assignment is going to take a little bit more research on your guys' end. Okay. So what you'll do with this one is it gives you the link that I gave you before. Okay. which is right here to this Bureau of Labor Management. And it says, go to there and pick one that interests you. Okay, so you're just going to pick yes. And then it says, write down the average salary and write an overview of the job outlook from 2021 to 2023. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So you're going to go here to this website and you'll say, okay, I like career and technical educators, right? And so that's basically what kind of this one is. I also have another CTE class I teach called law enforcement, which I have right after this class that I'll be teaching. But it says medium salary, so you just can copy and paste this one right here. And then they have the job outlook. Okay, it says 2% slower than average. So what does that mean, right? So you want to click in this tab right here, and you can kind of read about it and see what it kind of says about that, and then you'll just put it in there and submit it. Okay, so those are your two things of the week. It looks like we had some there. That's why we have trainings, yep, in public schools. Yeah, so there's a lot of trainings about different things that are there. Was it just me, or did it say 2031? Yeah, so what it's saying is it's the outlook, okay? So the 10-year outlook, basically. I know we're in 2023 right now, but it's giving an outlook of how many jobs that are going to be available moving forward, okay? And that's what you want to think, because but you guys are like 5-6 years out maybe after you get your bachelor's degree for being a teacher. So I want you to know the outlook of what to expect. Okay. All right. So that is the overview of um, of this first lesson here, careers in education. If you need to contact me, here's my contact information. But I will be around for the next little bit before I got to start my other class to answer any questions. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you for joining me. And if you don't have anything else, you can take off, and I'll stick around to answer any questions.